Hey heroes, Jonathan here at Night Knowledge. In today's video, I'm going to build a starship from scratch, and I'll go over the critical systems you'll need for it to work out. A few things of note before you do that. Depending on where you actually do this, whether it's some cities will give you different parts than others. So there's Aquila, there's New Atlantis, there's Neon, Deimos, Star Yards, all that kind of stuff. They all factor in to the different types of pieces that you may be looking for. At the same time, your skills will also dictate certain pieces that you may or may not be able to equip. Part of it will be from the piloting tree right here, which is found in tech. And the other one would be in the third row of tech called Starship Design. This will also dictate the type of pieces you'll be able to create and add to your ship. As you can see, this character hasn't invested any in it, but I do have other characters that do have quite a few points. One has maxed out piloting, one has 2 points in Starship Design, and it does provide additional better pieces. But I'm just going to show you more of the basics of how to build and what you need to do.
Got anything you need to offload?
So basically, at the start, to do any of this, you're going to need to speak with a ship services technician. So you talk with them and select view and modify my ships.
Sure, how about it?
Then you can modify a ship in your possession. As you can see at the very top, I have 6 ships, including my home ship, the one I'm piloting right now, which is the Frontier. You can do this with the Frontier, or you can do it with a totally different ship. But one word of note, if you're doing a ship from scratch, it can cost you anywhere between $100 to maybe even $200,000 if you're very conservative in what you build. You're building basically a basic ship, basically a fighter ship. But I know a lot of people, they're going to want to make kind of like a floating base. If you're making a floating base, it's going to be huge, and you're going to need maybe even 400,000 credits. I don't know. Like I have made floating bases, or almost floating bases, and they were very expensive. So as you can see, I have almost 300,000. We're going to see what I can do with more of a basic, maybe a starship design. I basically am looking for something better than the Frontier in that it has more fuel, meaning that I can travel further without having to make stops at systems. And I want more cargo. So I don't believe I've updated. I don't think I've upgraded the Frontier, except for, like, say, the weapons. So I want to increase the cargo from 450 maybe to 900, so double it or even more. Like, the more the better. But you're going to see that it's not just a matter of you add, and that's it. When you add something, you have to also increase something. Like, say, if you increase your mass, you probably have to improve your engines or your grav drives to be able to lift off, to be able to travel. So, and at the same time, we want to have at least 2 weapon systems, maybe 3, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. So what I recommend is obviously, don't work on the Frontier from scratch. Use a captured ship. So there are many videos on how to capture ships, including the one I put out. I'm actually going to be using today the UC prison shuttle, and as a small spoiler, you get this after basically the first official mission for the Crimson fleet. I won't say the first one, but very close to the very beginning, there will be a mission which will actually get you this ship for free. But you still have to register it, as you know. So the first thing we're going to do, we obviously select the ship from the screen, and then we're going to go to Ship Builder. And what I'm going to basically do is, because I'm on PC, I'm just going to put my cursor and I'm going to just spam delete. I'm going to delete everything so we start from scratch. And so as you can see, I'm deleting it all, blah, 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 and it's all gone. Now, so we start off with a blank slate. Then I'm going to proceed for flight check. This is what you'll use when you do your own custom build to determine, is this flyable or is this not flyable? And what are the prompts? If you have even one red error, that means you cannot save the design. You can't save the design until all the red errors are gone. If you have yellow errors, that's okay. It just might be a warning. So let's take a quick look. As you can see, all ships need these systems. We need a cockpit, a docker. A docker is to dock with other, say, ships or stations. All you need is one. And you need to have engines. You need to have a grav drive, a landing bay. So, landing base. You need a reactor. And it says it's missing a shield. So technically, you don't have to have a shield. But flying without a shield is, I think, just stupid. And you need at least one fuel tank. And then, as you can see here, the ship is too heavy. It needs more. It needs a better grav engine. So we'll close that, and let's start off with what I think is the most important thing, or what I usually start off with. And I start off with the not landing gear, landing bay. So the very first thing I start off with is a landing bay. And now these come in 3 different forms. They come with a front landing bay, a side landing bay, as you can see here, or a rear landing bay. Now, it doesn't matter. It's totally up to you, personal choice. But I always prefer a frontal landing bay. It just means that wherever you go, especially when you go down to the city, it's closer for you, it's less walking. And I know a lot of people are going to be wanting to make floating bases. And if you have a rear landing bay, that means that you have to walk all the way around to get to wherever you're going. So, the Razor Crest from the Mandalorian has a side landing bay, I guess you can say. Does it? No, it has a front landing bay. So it's up to you. We are going to try to do let's try to do a side landing bay today. And whenever you're building something, you're looking at a few things. You're obviously looking at this aesthetic to see what it looks like. Then you're checking to see if there's any, variance. For landing bays, it doesn't seem to be variance, although I can flip this landing bay to be a rear landing bay. As you can see here, I'm pressing Z, or you'll have to check on console what that button is. And I can switch it from a front to a rear landing bay. But like I said, I don't like rear landing bays. So, and as you can see here, I can flip the side landing bay to the other side as well. And while this one is just one type of landing bay. So I'm looking at aesthetics. I'm looking at how much it costs on this column right here. And then finally, I'm usually looking at something over here, the details. Hull, which is like the hit points. How much is going to cost me? And then the mass. So the greater the mass, the stronger the engines and grav drive you're going to need. So let's just keep going. Let's do our side landing bay. And now, when you're building, you should have an idea in mind how wide, how long you want your ship to be. Like I said, in today's video, I want to make something better than the Frontier, in the sense that I want it to be kind of a fighter. I don't want it to be a floating base. I do want it to be fast and agile, but it doesn't have to be super agile, because I feel like when I'm in combat, if you're going too fast, you're just going to overshoot your opponents often. So I don't want that. I want to carry more cargo. And what was the other thing? There was something else. Cargo, basically. Cargo and weapons. So that's the first thing. So that is that. I'm going to think about, in terms of the width, I'm going to probably try to do I'm going to try to make a narrow ship. So I'm going to do a 2-width ship, and maybe with extra structurals that will give me a nice silhouette. But that might be something I show you after, at the very end. I just want to show you the basics once again. So, and for the length, I don't want it to be too long, but sometimes you need the length to be able to fit extra things. So the next thing that we need to think about is, let's see. So usually the landing bay is the bottom, is the belly, the lowest level of your ship. So I'm going to see, do we want it to be a 1-layer belly, or do you want it 2 or more? I'm going to do maybe we'll do a 3. We'll do a 3 with ship and a 1 for the belly. So let's do that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to HABs, and as you can see here, what you're looking at here is the numbers right here. 1 by 1, 2 by 1, 3 by 1. You might find even really big ones, some really interesting big ones. So like a 3 by 3 square HAB. But this, all I want is probably a 2 by 1. And usually the lowest level, the belly, I don't like having stuff in the belly. I like having everything on the cockpit level. And the cockpit for this ship is going to be on the 2nd level. So what I'm looking at here, once again, is I'm looking on the left. What do these HABs do? So HABs can do many things. Once again, we're looking at hull. This will give 2 passenger slots for missions to carry passengers. And then if I check the variants by going right and left, I can have an armory, so that'll be a place that has containers that you can put your weapons in. If you want to do that, that's not usually a thing that I like to do. I carry only exactly enough weapons I want, and on this specific character, it's a solo character, introvert, so we don't have companions following us. So I don't have that many weapons, so the armory wouldn't be something I use. Captain's quarters. Usually the main thing about the captain's quarters is it has a bed, but the all-in-one berth should have a bed as well, as should the living quarters as well. So that's more aesthetic. Do you want your ship to have a captain's quarters? There's a computer core, and that will give me a crew station. We have a control station, which will give you 4 crew stations. Now remember, I believe without specific skills in, I think, social, even if you have tons of crew stations, you can only have a maximum of, I believe, 3 crew assigned to your ship or to your starship. So having more may not be useful if you don't plan on getting that tier 4 skill. So you may not need that. So here's an infirmary. Here's living quarters. Here's science lab. So science lab is going to have the science station so that you can research things, which I always think is important to have. And then there's the workshop. This will have your workbenches, the weapon, industrial, and spacesuit design. So I'm going to have that on the 2nd level maybe. So let's see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a living quarters so I can have passenger slots right here. And then you have to think about so some companies or some brands like Tayo have mid, top, and should have a bottom. So like Tayo has designed it so that if you select the bottom, it'll kind of be curved at the bottom and it'll look nicer than, say, these the Stroud version, which kind of will be blocky. So let's go with the nice belly bottom of the Tayo, and we will go with a living quarters so that we can carry passengers with us. That sounds right? Okay, we'll do that. Now, the next thing we're going to do is let's start thinking about, I like adding the cockpit. So let's see. So we're going to go over to the cockpits, and as you can see, it's all about the design. And as you can see on the left hand side, what you're looking at is the left hand side. What's special with the cockpits? Usually cockpits provide some cargo, and it provides you hull, so hit points, and some of them, like the Viking, provides you larger crew stations depending on the version that you pick. So let's take a look. No, so see, some I can't equip, like this Armstrong 20R cockpit. I need the skill Starship Design rank 1 to be able to select it, and it's one of the better ones in terms of the cargo space, but it has about the generic hull and crew stations. So I'm thinking I may need to, let's see, can I actually, I'm going to put that here, and I'm going to select cockpit, and maybe I'm going to select a Viking cockpit. So a Viking cockpit, and the only difference, the real difference of this is how much cargo, and I guess you want the most cargo, so we're going to go with the Viking cockpit, and maybe this will suit our design. So let's do that, and now let's put another HAB on top here. So basically, behind the cockpit, what do you want? So in the front here has kind of like a research station. I think that's a captain's quarters. It's like a modified station. I'm going to do a workstation so I can have my stuff. So let's try a companion, Tayo companionway, 2x1. Because the 1x1s, all the 1x1s are all the same. Companionway or a storeroom, which they don't really do anything. So we're going to go with the top, and we're going to go with the workshop. So that, as you can see, it kind of clips into the cockpit, and all that means is that you have to put your cursor on this part right here and add it that way. So I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to put the workshop right here and see, and if it fits properly. There we go. See, maybe knowing that, maybe I should have the workshop here and the research station below. So I might do that just so that I don't have a ship that's too long, because I don't like walking so much. So let's go back to the bottom. Let's find the bottom of Tayo. Tayo, where did you go? Top. Where did you go? Top. Bottom. Oh, no, I'm not looking at the right spot. Okay, so we'll have the science lab below there. There we go. Okay, so the next very important thing I feel is that you're going to need to have, I think the hardest thing, or the thing you should work on next really, is once you know of the body and the width and the length of your ship, you need to start adding, I think first, after all of this, is the, what's it called? You need these things. Dockers, no engines. Gears. You need landing gears. So there are technically two types of landing gears in this game. There is the same level, the bottom, kind of like a one level landing gear, and then you have these bigger ones, which are technically 2 levels high, but they don't really tell you that. So I'm gonna see whether maybe, oh, I like that. Maybe we'll try this. So we'll do a landing gear right here, maybe on this side, right in the front. Let's go back to the gears and see. So it's not giving me that option. So I can't have a landing gear apparently attached to this side landing gear, which is not ideal, but that's okay. So let's go back to the gears. There. So we have a few different landing gears as options. Maybe let's try this one right here. So landing thrust. Lander thrust. So we either got landing thrust 2 or 1. So let's try. So as you can see here, port or 4, mid, and aft. So basically front, middle, back. You could just have one that has the front and then the back afterwards. So I'm going to show you what I mean. Nope, I did not mean to do that. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to put the 4 right here, and then I'm going to have the aft right here. So a nice tiny one right there. Let's see if I can repeat that. I'm going to do the 4, and this won't work because of the landing gear right there. So maybe, just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to put the landing bay. We'll use a frontal landing bay, and now that is not working for some reason. Oh, it's because of that right there. So that's not working. So let's cancel that. So this is, as you can see, the hardest part in ship design is making sure that this works. So there's something wrong with this. Most likely, it's the cockpit. So it's some of this is trial and error and learning over time. So let's try this. Let's see, is there any cockpits that will work? This cockpit will work. This will not. None of these. Oh, these short ones will work. So I think what the problem is this little part right here will bang into the top. That's why. So you could do this, and it's all about also aesthetics for you. Does this look good in your head? Maybe we'll try this. Okay, let's see if we can do those landing gears now. Will the landing gears allow me to do it? Oh, see, it lets me do it now. So I'm gonna try that. Put it there, and now let's see. sometimes you don't need to have, like, the landing gears should not need to be connected like that. Let's see. Now let's take a look at our flight check, and I'm going to check, does it have enough thrusters? It does. So I don't necessarily need to put in landing gears, the mid landing gears right here. I could, if you want to keep that shape. I totally understand if that's what you would do, but we'll save that for something else. So, okay, so we got our cockpit, we got our landing bay, we have our landing gears. So now we need a few more things. We need, let's see, we need a docker. Docker's easy. So next thing, what I would usually do is I would see if I can do some engines. Let's see if we can do an engine right here. So as you can see, I don't have very many options. If I had even 1 point in Starship design, or actually a few points, 4 points in Starship design, I can get some really strong engines. But I'm actually relegated to these ones right here. Now, the most important thing right now, what you have to start looking at, is you have to look at the class, because I can't have a Class B engine or Class B module if my reactor is Class A. Is basically there's not enough power in general to be able to power this type of engine. So I have to have a Class B reactor. So maybe that's actually what I should be looking at next. So let's look at our reactors. So as you can see, reactors, the main thing I'm looking at, obviously, then the cost, is I'm looking at the class and also the power generated. Technically, you want to have the most power as possible. At the same time, some of the higher power or higher tier reactors are 2 stories or two layers high. In this place, see here, the Theta Pinch A9 reactor is a C class reactor, so a top tier reactor, but it is 2 levels high. So what is special is that it does have stuff you can connect on the sides, whereas you'll notice some don't have that. So let's see, from the options that I have, let's see, 20 is the most I can get here. 20 is the most I can get here. And 18 is what I want to get here. Let's try to get the most powerful one. Let's see what's the difference. So other than power generated, I guess I'm looking at repair rate, the hull, and mass. So the stronger the reactor, the more mass. And once again, that will dictate the bigger the engine you'll need to be able to lift off and not have that red message. So let's see if we can do, let's see, 27 mass versus 32. So it's only a 5 mass difference. I'm going to go with this toroidal reactor, and it'll be on the bottom. Okay, so now that we have that, let's see if we can work on our grav drives. So a grav drive will be here, and let's see, grav drive. So grav drive, once again, so we picked an A-class reactor. So that means we have to pick an A-class grav drive. So if we scroll down to the bottom, usually that's where it's organized by the class. So see, I can't use these grav drives right here. I have to pick an A. So as long as I start using these SGs, so hopefully, let's see, what's the difference between this? Grav jump. Okay, so I'm just gonna pick the strongest one, hoping that that's enough. Grav drive. Now let's take a look at my errors. I need a docker, I need engines, and I need a fuel tank. Okay, so that's fine. So let's start putting engines on. Now let's see whether maybe like the Frontier. I like the look of the side engines, the one that are angled. So let's see if we can do that. Engines, where the heck are you? Right here. So if it's red, that means that something is blocking it, and it is this docker or the landing gear that's blocking it. So let's see, but we can use these white dwarf ones similar to the Frontier and put it on a sideways, which I think looks really cool. Is it strong enough? Not really sure. So let's do that. Engines will dictate how much mobility your ship will have. So mobility is very important for combat. That's the primary thing you need to think about. The higher mobility, the better. Obviously, if you have floating fortress, you probably won't be that mobile, and you have to probably make up for it with maybe turrets or lots of weaponry to kill your enemies quick before they overwhelm you with speed. So we'll do 2 white dwarf, 2 10 engines. So now, as you can see, that looks nice. So now, what are we missing? We need a docker and we need fuel tanks. So let's see, maybe we can do a fuel tank. So see, the problem with the design we've picked here, as you can see here, this hab at the top has only slots at the top here to put stuff on, whereas this one over here doesn't. So I'm actually going to get rid of this, although it looks nice with the curved top, I'm actually going to get rid of this, and I'm going to replace this with a tail workshop mid so that I get side slots, because we still have to put shields on, and we need to put fuel, and maybe we want to connect these landing gears so it has a nice look to it. So let's do that again. So let's see, go back to habs, we'll go to tile 2x1 mid, and let's see, mid, and we're going for that armory, right? Or workshop. That's what we did, right? Because workshop and then science at the bottom. So see, as you can see here, because this is a mid, it has the side slots. So let's see, what are the errors we have? We still need a docker, we still need a fuel tank. So the docker, as we talked about, that's the thing that will connect your ship to other ships. As long as you have it, it doesn't matter, even if it may not technically, logistically, or logically work properly. Let's see if we can put a docker here. There, docker. So see here, here's a docker. Can I put something at the top? I can actually put it right here, possibly. Let's see, docker. No, it technically will not let me put a docker here because probably because these the side engines isn't letting me do that. So let's do that. Or can I put a docker on the side? I technically could do a docker on the side. So maybe right here, it'll be a side docker, or like that. So this one obviously looks better to me, so I'm going to do that. I'll put the docker right there. And maybe we can put something right here. Maybe we can have another connecting thing right there. So what are we missing now? We have 1 error left. We don't have any fuel tanks. We technically don't have a shield. So let's look at those two. Let's see, fuel. Let's see, fuel tanks. So fuel tanks, remember the Frontier only has 50 fuel. So we want more than that. Once again, the more fuel you have, meaning there's less systems you have to stop at for long trips. So this 300G will actually already double it. Or we could have this one right here, which looks like it might be a nice fit for the thrusters. It only and it's 100 fuel. So maybe we'll go on this side and see whether maybe we can do this one. So see here, this actually looks kind of nice. Or we can go to the 150, and it kind of looks nice this way. Maybe I'll do this. And then I'll put the 100 right here. So it kind of looks like it's, in terms of silhouette, it fits the silhouette. It's a nice silhouette, so I like that. Now there's 4 warnings I have. We're still missing a shield and 3 weapon assignments. Totally fine. So technically, our ship is basically almost done. All we have to do is make it look a little nicer if that's, obviously, it's always important to us. So let's look at the shield options that we have. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom. Once again, I cannot select a shield that has a greater class than what my reactor is. My reactor being an A reactor. So unfortunately, we can't do these ones right here. And what I usually look at is I look at the amount of power it takes to give me full shield, and I'll do the math. So this is 88 is 88 shield. So 440 divided by 5 should be 88 shield per power. So, you know, and then obviously the lower versions is going to be a lower number. So do we want to have a deflector like that, or do we want to have something like this? But I'm thinking maybe we want to make it look a little nicer. Can I put a shield over here? I can. So let's see what shield options do I have. So for 7 shield power, which is quite a lot, and also a C, so I'm not even going to even think about that. So maybe let's go with an A. Let's see, what's the best A that I can do? I can do either the Bastille, so that's a little bit less than 100 per power, and this one is 80 per power. That's not great. That's not great. So I'm going to take the strongest shield that I can. So I'm going to go with the Bastille. Okay. And now the only thing I have to really do is add weapons. So the weapons is an easy thing. Let's see. So we have a few places we can probably put weapons, either on the top or the side. That's actually the only places we can really put it on at this time. So let's see whether we can put something here. We can. Can I put something at the top here? In terms of weapons, if it doesn't give you a weapon option like it is right here, you need to go to structural, and usually adding a structure will allow you to put a weapon. So whether you actually add just a simple equipment plate, or if we find something here, I'm going to find something that maybe gives me kind of like a fin looking type of thing. So because the cockpit kind of like juts out a little bit and I don't like the look of that. So let's see if we can find something. Hope Tech pipes. No, I don't want pipes. Radiators. Let's see. No, I'm just going to quickly visually look at it. Do I want that? That doesn't really look too nice either. Let's see. A variant. It's yucky. So let's see. Nope. Nope. That's really bad. Okay, so not many good options in terms of visually doing this. Let's see. Let's see. What's this? Okay. Maybe I can do this. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. Hope Tech 4 and a Hope Tech aft. Technically, I don't like the look of that. I'd like something that kind of covers off this like jutting thing. Let's see if we can find something else. Nope. Nope. No. This, can I flip it? Nope. That's flipping it upside down. Flip it. And that doesn't look good either. So unfortunately, with this specific cockpit design, there isn't a very good option for it. So I'm just going to stick with this though. So that's kind of what it's looking like. It kind of juts out right here, which is weird, but there aren't too many options for me. So with that done, I'm going to see whether can I put weapons. So see, I can automatically put weapons on there. If you don't have that option, once again, like say right here, you can usually put weapon mounts right there. So usually it'll be an equipment mount or a weapon mount like this. And that actually lets you put two, but I think this thing, the fuel part, is going to block off any weapon options. So that's okay. We can maybe put a whole port right here. Or add more fuel tanks, but adding fuel tanks will increase the mass. So, which may require you to get better grav drives or engines. So let's put some weapons on. I personally, from my experience, I like to have two weapons, usually a particle gun, an electron beam, which does two types of damage, the hull and shield, but it's primarily because it has great range, 3,000 plus range, like this Ravager electron beam. So it's more of a sniping type of gun. So you can damage them, hopefully destroy one ship almost before the other ships engage you. So that's what I'm going to put on the front. I'm going to put two of these on there. And what you're looking at, other than everything else we've talked about, it has to be the right class. You're looking at the range. You're looking at how fast it shoots. I like faster shooting weapons. It just feels better. And then the other thing I'm looking at is max power. You don't want a gun with too much power needed to be able to achieve the damage you want. So let's see what I can do. Let's see, neutron beam. These are class B, so I already cannot put those on. I got this from a Vanguard quest, and that's why. So these are all C's. I'm going to find an A, my first A neutron beam. So let's see, electron beam. Here's some. So these are all the electron beams I have. A slow shooting one, the faster, another fast one, and this one doing more damage and costing more, or the Ravager, which does the most damage, but it is shooting. It does have better range, but it does shoot slower. So I'm going to go with probably the Vanguard. I have the money, so I'm going to go with double Vanguard Obliterator auto projectors. And they only need power of 2, so that's fine. Put one there. And if you want, I'm going to put my cursor on it. For me, it's left control, and I'm going to select duplicate. So I'll put it right there. And then, as my other weapon option, I can put it anywhere I want. I'm going to put it right here, and we're going to do the Vanguard Hellfire autocannon. And this will be primarily to do, to do hull damage. Now the question is, can I put another one here? I technically can, and it only requires max power 2. So I think that should be enough power, because look, we have actually a reactor of 20 and equipment power of 10, but that's because it hasn't factored in some stuff. Oh, I just added something. Oh, I forgot the Vanguard Hellfire autocannons, which I like. They're class B. So always check your, always check your flight check. You have to, so that you know what's wrong. So I'm going to go find the first autocannon that is class A, which unfortunately is higher up here. So we have 5 different types: Maulers, KE, and Dangan. So I'm going to go for an autocannon, which is faster shooting, and then preferably one with the most damage, but also one that doesn't require a lot of power. So Mauler is 800 damage. So technically, the Dangan has the best range of all the autocannons. Now I'm looking at the fire rate. Obviously, we'll go autocannon. Is 10 damage at 3 power. So it's basically 3.3 damage per power, versus the Mauler is less. So technically, I'm going to go with the Dangan PB autocannons because it has the better range. It has and more damage per power. So I'll do that, and I'll put another one right there. Okay, and now there's still one more red error that prevents me from saving this design. As you can see, we're at 108,000 credits, so a third of my money. And it's all the same. Ships have weapons that must be assigned to a group, and we're missing weapon assignments. No problems, no need to worry. All we have to do is go to this tab right here and assign our weapons. So this, for me, is my left mouse button, and then this will be my right mouse button. And if you have, say, you want to add a third one, you can do it right here. So this would be like the missiles. But like I said, I prefer just a simple, let's take down the shields, then rip them apart. This is not kind of a boarding ship. So, but there we go. Let's check the warnings now. The warnings is ship is missing a weapon assignment, and that's because there are 3 weapon groups, and I don't have a third weapon. But that's okay. That's not a red error. That's just letting you know, hey, there are 3. There's room for 3 slots. So I could take off one of these weapons, these duplicates, and put in like a third weapon. But I like symmetry, and I like just the simple long range guns, and then the hull blasters, basically. And that is it. We have our cockpit, we have our landing bay, we have landing gears. If you don't have enough landing gears, like it'll let you know, say you don't have enough landing gears. So that's why it's one of the first things that I do after I do landing gear, figuring out the width and length of my ship, is to figure out where my landing gears work. Because as I said, some are the same level landing gear, some are 2 levels. So I'd have to put it on this second level here, right here, where I have some fuel, where I have the ports. But you'll see it. It'll let you know. And if it's not on the same level, there will be a red error message right here, or red. See how it's green? It'll be red instead. So once again, landing bay, cockpit. We have our landing gears. We have a docking port, which you need to have. We have fuel. So we're going to have a ton of fuel. Where's it? Tell me the fuel. I think it's this, maybe. I think it's this. So we have a lot of fuel. And we have nice weaponry. We have our shields, and in the rear we have shield generators, grav drives, and reactors. If you want, as always, you could always go to the back here and add more structure. So as you can see, though, as you add structure, it increases mass. It'll decrease your mobility. So maybe you want to give it a nice tail. Maybe you want to give it a rear. So let's maybe give it like something like this, and maybe a port hole. There you go, something like that. That's not bad. It's not great, but I want to end this video. So that is it. Still, we got that warning, and we're gonna exit. And before we do that, the most important thing is you probably want to name your ship. So I have a video on that, but I'll show you in this since you stayed with me all the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a flight check. We're going to select rename ship. We're going to select rename, and we'll give it a name. So I'm going to call this the Aegis. So Aegis, and I'm going to confirm, and then I'm going to accept. And there we go. Here's our new ship, the Aegis, and I'm hoping if I compare it, it should technically be better than the Frontier. In terms, let's look. In terms of fuel, it has 5 times more fuel. In terms of hull, it's about the same because it's a smallish ship. In terms of cargo, somehow I have less cargo. Oh, that's what we forgot. We forgot about cargo. That's why our ship is a little bit light. So let's quickly jump into that, and let's delete that over there. Let's delete this over here, and let's see if we can put in some cargo. I'm not even sure if it's going to let us. Yeah, so it's clipping into here. So let's exit out. Let's cancel modifications and re-go into this. So that was the thing that we're missing. So that's why we have these extra spots here. Let's see if we can put cargo back here. Nope, can't put it there. Can't put it there. So this Starship design. Let's see. Maybe if we. So now these engines are the problem. I wonder if I delete the fuel, give it the fuel over here. Let's go back to the fuel tanks. Let's give it one of those. And let's see, can I put something on top? And yeah, I can technically do that. Oh no, sorry, not that. I need to put cargo. Where did you go? Cargo. So I can put cargo. It is going to decrease mobility, but we do need it. So let's see. So what I'm looking at is the mass versus the amount of cargo. I think for 8 more mass, it gives me 35 more cargo. I don't know if that's worth it. Or we can go with one of the big ones to make it look. And then you kind of lose the silhouette, the nice silhouette. We could always maybe delete that, put it on top. So let's see. Let's find that fuel tank. Let's do that. And maybe we put it down here. We can put the cargo right here. So it kind of follows the silhouette a little better. Or even that looks much nicer. Let's see. There we go. So now our cargo is 525. So it's a little bit better. It's a little bit better than the Frontier. Not a lot better, but a little bit better. Maybe we can put a shield on the back. Is there any way we can put a shield on the back? No. No way to put a shield on the back. Can't put cargo on the back. And can I move this backwards? I can do that. There we go. Maybe we move this back a little bit, and then we can put another cargo right here. Maybe like that. Cargo right here. And then we'll put the fuel right here, and maybe we'll do the fuel one right here. Fuel. Is that what we're looking for? No, we're looking for that one. So we'll put it here, fuel. Okay, so now we got 2 warnings. Our mobility basically is saying that we need to reduce mass or add engines to improve mobility for space combat, and we still got the same weapon assignment. But now we have significantly, what was it, 450? Almost, I'd say 50% more cargo than the Frontier. So that's what we forgot about. So it's not required, but you probably want to add more cargo. So you're getting cargo from this cockpit, but also from these actual cargo holds, and it still fits the same-ish silhouette. So I like it. So that's fine. I'm okay with 60 mobility. I've seen lower, and we're gonna exit, and we're gonna save it. It would help if I actually make sure, of course, that you set this new ship as your home ship. Otherwise, you won't be able to see it. So we're going to go here. We're going to make it our home ship. See what it looks like. Okay. It honestly looks pretty good. I like it. It's cool. It's cool. Let's see what it looks like from inside. Let's see if it works. So we're going to board. The one thing I like about the Frontier is that as you enter the landing bay, it's directly like there's only one level. There's not two floors. And unfortunately, there's going to be two floors. The docker side, I think, right there, and then you will have to go up. So I believe this is our research room. So we got our research lab and our pharmaceutical lab, and then we're going to go up this ladder. If you have what's it called, the jump pack skill, you can probably jump pack up rather than having to walk up, because that's going to slow you down. And here's a port to look out. So you got ports on both sides. And here's our workshop. Pretty cool. And then we're going to open this up to the cockpit. And there you go. You got your cockpit. And so here's the cargo hold with the captain's locker very close to each other. And then the cockpit right here. So not bad. I like it. I'm happy with this design. I just know that I won't be able to, unlike the Frontier, just go straight in and access one level. It will be two levels of the ship. And if I do need to research, I'll have to go down there. But depending on your character, you might not have to research really ever. So that is my Starship design video. I hope this helped you out. Let me know if you have any questions on building ships. I wouldn't say I'm a master, but I definitely have figured out most of the tricks, and you know, there is a rather big learning curve to this. Anyways, thanks for joining me. Check out the rest of my channel for other videos on Starfield, video games, board games, and other fun things. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.